Okay, so thanks for jumping on with us, guys. We wanted to get on and bring you back some of the tips that we felt were really going to be the most impactful for our business from the Platinum Edge event. So if you guys aren't familiar with what that event is, it's an annual event that the person who's literally like the beginning of our upline, Christine Dwyer, she started Team Platinum Presenters. So we are all a part of Platinum Presenters and just have our own smaller kind of sub-teams within her organization. So she decided she wanted to start hosting her own event, which is kind of like a mini summit. But I'll be honest with you guys, like this is by far my favorite event of the year because you really get like, I mean, Christine has some of the best coaches who have done extraordinary things, who probably paved the way for the majority of us on her team. People like Janelle Summers, Mindy Lawhorn. Oh my God, like now all of a sudden my brain is going blank with like names, but tons of top 10 coaches. Tara Carr, Ali Upham, Chelsea Pearson, just people with huge organizations, a lot of 15-star diamonds, multi 15-star diamond business centers, all within her team Platinum Presenters. And so she started hosting this and bringing in the people who were really kind of just kicking butt in their area of expertise and having them share their best practices on stage. And Christine doesn't do a whole lot of micromanaging presentations. She really just wants you to share exactly what you do. She doesn't tell you what to say or how to say it, which was like such a great experience working with her. And so the reason I'm telling you guys all this is because I want you to mark this in your calendar as like a non-negotiable event. Unless this isn't meant to be like the real deal full-time income for you. If this is just a hobby, then don't spend money on stuff like that, unless you want to just go to hang out with us, and then it's more like a vacation with your girlfriends. But if you're in this and you really want like serious, dependable income, I'm not talking about millions of dollars. If that's your goal, perfect. It's a good event for you as well. But even if your goal is just, consistent $1,000 a month, $1,000 a week, whatever your goal is, if you want legit dependable income, this really is the event to be at. Of course, Super Saturdays are always important, but if you're going to travel to one event, if that's all you can do all year long, I always say if you can go to both, go to Summit too, because Summit's incredible. You just get a real sense of like who Beachbody is as the corporate side. But if you can only pick one, if you can only do one flight and hotel a year, I personally, if I was forced into that decision would pick the Platinum Edge. So I'm going to go ahead and clearly I'm echoing, so I'm going to hand it over to, I think you were going to start off with your notes, Molly.
Perfect. Can you all hear me? Awesome. Hey guys, so glad that you guys could jump on with us tonight. Platinum Edge was really, really great. This was my first year going, and it's definitely probably one of my favorites. I loved it. So if you weren't there this year, definitely, like Andrea said, make it a point to go next year, because it was just such great information. Everything was valuable. All the speakers were great. But I think like the biggest thing for me that I took away from Platinum Edge was about being relatable on social media. And you have to think of it as, your life is so much more than like just coaching. Like there is more to you than health and fitness. Like Beachbody is not your life. Beachbody is something that you do. People want to know you other than Beachbody. People want to see the true, the raw, the real, the unedited version of you. You guys, you're more than just health and fitness. You have to share all the other parts. You have to think of things like maybe like the messy parts of your life, because everybody has messy in their life. So like think of something, like whether you suck at cooking or something, and you like prepped this meal all day and you found this awesome recipe on Pinterest and it was like a total fail. or you like burnt it and it tasted like crap. Share that stuff, you guys. When you share those things, people are going to be like, oh, I totally get that, girl. Like, I've done that too. And then those people that you're trying to attract are going to connect with you even better. Nobody wants to see just your highlight reel. You have to share the other parts. You guys, you have to own your flaws, share your struggles. There's always, always, always going to be haters, no matter what. Whether you are always trying to be perfect, there's going to be haters. And whether you're sharing your flaws and your struggles, there's going to be people that are going to judge you. That's just how it is. And for me, this was something that was really tough for me, especially in the beginning when I started coaching. I was super afraid what other people thought of me. But I realized that I was just going to have to get over it. I realized that I wasn't going to grow in my business without stepping out of my comfort zone. And it was really hard for me at first. And it's still something that I struggle with, that I'm working on. But I found that all I had to do was take baby steps. And I found that the more baby steps I took, the easier it got. And you can ask Heather, you guys, my social media before coaching was crickets. Like, I never posted on social media ever. Like, I had Facebook, I had Instagram, but for some reason I just didn't share stuff. I didn't like people's things on their comments or their pictures or anything. So being consistent on social media was not something that I was used to. I was scared to death to take a selfie and post it on Facebook. It was painful for me. So it just came to a point where I realized that I was going to have to choose whether I was going to worry and be afraid what other people thought, or was I going to grow in my business. And like I said, it wasn't super easy for me. So if you're somebody who struggles with that and is like an extreme introvert like me, and I totally get it. Like, you're not alone. But I can tell you it gets easier. And I can tell you that it's so much more worth it to go ahead and step out of your comfort zone and, just not worry about, put people's opinions aside. Don't worry about it. Focus on the goals that you have. Also, you guys, think of something, some things that set you apart from other coaches and other people. Think of some things that make you special, or some things that make you like freaking amazing, and share those things and post those things on social media. Share you. And when you do that, you're going to be so much more relatable. And in return, you're going to be able to reach so many more people, and they will start paying attention to you. And if you're not sure, what are those things that make me awesome, or what are some things that, I'm an expert in, ask a friend, you guys. Ask your mom. Ask your grandma. Ask somebody what those things are, and share those things. Sorry. Penny, but last but not least, you guys, just pour your heart out. Be transparent on social media. I promise you, stepping out of your comfort zone is going to be one of the best things that you do. That's all I got.
Love that. Molly had a question pop up. Charlene asked, how long did it take before you were able to overcome your fear to step out of your comfort zone and talk to other people?
That's a good question. I would say overcoming my fear, it was a process. I literally just took it baby steps. Like, if you were to tell me 9 months ago when I started coaching that I was going to be talking to people or reaching out to people, I would have told you are crazy, because that's just not who I was. I was so shy. I still am shy. I'm still an introvert, and that's just who I am. But it's something I'm working on, and I don't think I have totally overcome it. It's still something I work on. But I will tell you, just take baby steps. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just keep going every single day. Show up every day, and it gets easier, I promise. There's still things that I'm super uncomfortable with. The whole going live thing on Facebook, I'm gonna have to get over it. I know it. But it's a process. It took me, I think, probably about maybe a solid 3 months to like just get to feel more comfortable. I wasn't overcoming the fear, but I felt more comfortable about it.
What would you say were the baby steps that you took in the beginning? Because for those of you who don't know, Molly has hit Success Club every single month of her business, and the majority of the months have been Success Club 10. So it wasn't like she was sitting there and like waiting for herself to like overcome this fear. Like she felt the fear as she went on. What would you say the baby step would be like at the beginning?
Honestly, I did definitely reach out to like my warm market first. And now it's so crazy because I don't like to reach out to my warm market anymore. For some reason, I love talking to new people. And that's something I would have never thought I would ever say. I like getting to know other people without like a, this already like knowing somebody, knowing who they are. It's just something that I have found. But as far as baby steps, just reaching out to maybe 1 or 2 people a day, making it like a non-negotiable. And then before you know it, it's going to become like second nature. And that's how it has been for me. Like sending out messages to people and trying to relate with them is something that's so much easier now.
Oh, that was great. I saw the question pop up and I knew it.
Thank you. I didn't see it.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So one of my biggest takeaways from Platinum Edge, there was a guest speaker. Apparently she's kind of like a motivational speaker. I didn't recognize her name before she was there, but she had a whole list of accolades and things that she had done. So she was an amazing person to listen to. And I have 2.5 pages of notes from her, but there's this one tiny section that I have all these stars and underlines around. And it was called her growth system. And I resonate with systems. So this is probably why this stuck out to me. So I hope you'll relate to it too. So it's a 6-step system. So if you guys have your pen and paper handy, the first is number 1, get real about what's standing in the way of your movement. So I think this might take like a little bit of reflection, like probably not 2 weeks, but maybe 5 minutes of being like, okay, like what's legit holding me back? Like, I feel like we're so full of excuses sometimes. Like I don't have time is like this like crazy badge of honor that all of a sudden people decided to start wearing. We're not too busy. It is just clearly not a priority. And that's fine. If you want to get real with yourself and be like, this business is not a priority, that's totally cool. And nobody's going to judge you for that. But don't say, like, hey, I want to like go on in this business and then keep saying, well, I don't have time. Because it just means that it's not a priority for you. So just get real with yourself. What is standing in your way? Is it the fear of talking to people? And if so, are those people going to come to your house the end of the month and write your mortgage payment? So what is it? So that's step 1. Number 2, reach just beyond with what you're comfortable with. And I think Molly just said this so beautifully, is to take baby steps. What are you uncomfortable with? Are you uncomfortable presenting the business? Are you just starting out, so you're even really uncomfortable with just sending hey girls? Are you uncomfortable with inviting people to your challenge groups? Like, where is your uncomfortable level? And then press into that just a little bit. Like, you don't have to go and send out 50 coach invites if that's your uncomfortable level, but do like 3. Every single day, press a little bit more. And that's as soon as you feel that fear, deep breath and do it anyway. So that's number 2. Number 3, own a system. Gather only the resources that you will need to make that goal happen. And I love this point because I am a serial lifelong learner, and I'm the person that could sit there for 5 hours, watch 5 webinars, and I still haven't done jack squat in my business because all I've been doing is learning for 5 hours. So take what you said, number 1, what was holding you back? And number 2, reach just beyond what you're comfortable with. What were you uncomfortable with? If it's presenting the business, then Andrea, don't slap me because I know Entrepreneur Academy 2.0 is going on, but you guys only watch webinars and look at resources that have to do with presenting the business. If social media is your thank you. I don't want to get a virtual slap. If social media is your hang up and you are freaked out to post on social media, then all you need to be doing is doing social media and conversation training. Like, that's it. Cut everything else out. Like, you don't need to be like John Maxwell leader if you have 2 people on your team. You have other things to focus on. So cut out everything else and hone in, because you can be, there's a quote and I can't remember it, but if you know a little bit about everything, you're the master of none. And so dive into that one area, be laser focused on whatever you said you were uncomfortable with. Okay, number 4. So now you've done 1, 2, and 3, and so you're going to kind of reflect. So what changed, and assess the results. So as you're doing these 1, 2, and 3, it's important to go back and check and assess the results. So say that you struggle with presenting the business, and so you've been focusing on training on how to present the business. Look at your tracking, because you should be tracking, and say, okay, what changed? Oh, that's awesome. I presented the business 20 times last week, or whatever your goal was, or I didn't do it enough, or what was the hangups, or maybe you were getting objections and now you need to shift and you need to be like, okay, I need to focus on maybe some objection training, or maybe I'm giving people too much information and word vomiting all over themselves. So don't keep doing it over and over and over. Like, I would say maybe even every 2 weeks, stop and assess what you're doing, and then that way you can make these mini shifts as you go along, and then all of a sudden you haven't blown a whole month. Number 5, take time to celebrate and acknowledge your growth. And this can be as little as, getting your nails done. It can be, just giving yourself a shout out. Whatever it is, as entrepreneurs, we don't have, obviously we have a really amazing team that makes recognition like a huge part of it. And Andrea is an amazing example of setting the tone for this on our team. And so we do get a lot of recognition, but if it's not something that somebody could see, like if it's not Success Club, or if it wasn't a rank advancement, and so somebody else can't see that, but you know in your heart that you invited 20 people last week and that was 4 times as much than you've ever done before, you need to celebrate the crap out of that. Go buy a bottle of wine. Like, I don't care, do something, because that positive reinforcement is going to create these like brain tracks, and then you'll keep wanting to do it because you're going to know that that reward happens. And then number 6, put your head down and repeat the process. So, maybe it was just posting on social media and now you freaking rock like Molly does. Now it's like time to head down and repeat and do something different and learn something new and lean into something else that you're uncomfortable with. So just be addicted to growth. I think that's, the biggest thing in this business. If we could do this system every couple of months and master one thing, like, can you imagine where we'd all be at the end of 2017? I mean, if every 3 months we took a separate section, and if it didn't even take us that long, we were able to master it in shorter amount of times. Like, can you guys imagine, instead of our personal development being 5,000 different places and you having a stack of books this tall next to your bedside table? So anyway, that's what I've got as far as growth. And I have one action step for you. I want everybody to write down 100 pieces of proof that you are good at this. That's your action item from me. I'm done.
Can you clarify exactly what do you mean by that, Heather?
Like, oh yeah, sure.
Like an example. That's what I mean, like an example.
Oh yeah. So, say, hey, I've sold a challenge pack before. That means I'm good at this. Hey, I have one coach on my team. That means I'm good at this. Hey, I've helped one person lose 2 pounds. Hey, I'm good at this. I helped that bride fit into her wedding dress. I'm good at this. Everything. And, if you don't make it to 100, that's fine. But I would challenge you to try to get to 100, because every little thing that we can celebrate is, so when you're having really crappy days, you can look at that list and say, this is why I'm good at this.
It's reinforcement when you're lacking confidence. And we all have moments where we're lacking confidence. Every single one of us. Even something as simple as like, I finished the entire new coach tab. Not everybody's done that. And then people wonder, why isn't this business working for me? because you didn't do the motherfucking work. Andrea is sassy this week. Sorry, guys. So if you have kids around, you know the drill. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to cover just a few things that I learned at the event, and then I have an additional challenge for you guys too. But before I do that, I'm going to touch on one thing that Heather Lee was saying about your personal development and your area of growth for you and your business, and focusing on one. And so when I look back in the beginning of my business, for me, initially, it was I focused the majority of my personal development on how to have conversations and build relationships. I remember spending 45 minutes to work and 45 minutes home from work every single day. So that was 90 minutes every single day listening to like Danny Johnson audios, teaching me how to have conversations until literally her words were my own. I could have spouted them out verbatim because I had just reprogrammed my brain with how to have conversations, build relationships with people. And I did that for probably at least a year. And then it was like really diving deep into understanding social media better. Now, how can I get my message out in the most effective way? And I dove deep into primarily Facebook. I've dabbled in all the different platforms, but Facebook is my bread and butter. That is where I have built 99.9% of my business. And it still continues to be that way. It's where I feel most comfortable for my personality type. I'm across on all the different platforms. I blog, but I'll tell you guys my little secret that I'm going to tell everybody in Entrepreneur Academy tomorrow as well. I'll go deeper into it tomorrow. But what I do is I take like a Facebook post and I put it on my blog, and then I take the same exact picture and I put it on my Instagram, and then I take the picture from my Facebook post and I link it to Pinterest. So all of these things are all started in one place, and it originated from Facebook. If I do a Facebook Live, I save it to my camera roll, or now you guys can download the link straight from your computer onto your desktop and upload to YouTube. So now I'm having new content and making sure that my YouTube is populated, and I just have a little playlist that says Facebook Live videos. So I'm not doing a ton of work. I'm really doing it on one platform, and I'm spreading it across all the different platforms that I want to be on. But again, where your attention goes, energy flows. Most of my business comes from Facebook still. It just means that if someone happens to catch me on Pinterest when they're looking up, country heat results or something like that, then it might bounce back to my page. And I want to be present on the platforms, but I spend the majority of my energy on Facebook because that's what platform makes a lot of sense for me. So, and then pretty much my third year in business, when my business started really, really increasing, was when I spent a whole year pretty much working on mindset. Because I'm like, now I knew, okay, I have the skills, I know what the fuck to do, but it was this that was getting in the way. It doesn't matter what you know unless you execute and you do it consistently. And I was getting in my own way all the time, telling myself, oh, I'm showing up, I'm doing all the right things. But honestly, guys, I was doing just enough to barely scrape by and maybe hit Success Club, but not enough to really build momentum and grow my business. And so I had to get honest with myself, and I dug really, really deep into mindset work. And that's pretty much all I did on social media. And now, like, when people have mindset trouble, guess who they come to? Because I've read every fucking book there is on mindset. I know all the things when it comes to mindset and your subconscious and fears and all those blocks, because I reprogrammed my mind. I spent well over a year actually on mindset. But that's because that's what I needed. And so Scotty Hobbs said at Summit, he said, personal development is personal. So every time people come to me and they're like, what have been the most impactful books for you in your business? I almost don't want to tell people, because maybe one book might be helpful for them, but my journey was so personal to what I needed in that moment. So don't, this is kind of bringing it full circle back to what Heather Lee was saying, is just because there's a lot of information out there, and we have to, because everybody's having different struggles in different areas. We want to make sure that we have some kind of training for everyone, but you have to ask yourself, what do I need right now? And focus hardcore into that. And that's why I wasn't upset at Heather Lee when I said, or when she was saying, focus on what makes the most sense for you, because it's right. Where your focus goes, what you focus on expands. So you guys will continue to grow and get better if you really take personal development seriously, but don't get distracted just because one person over here got 50 Success Club points and it all stemmed from an aha from this book. Doesn't mean you're going to get the same aha, right? Everybody, it's so personal. Okay, so off that tangent, I'm going to go into, I'm just going to read a few of the advice from some 15-star coaches. Christine brought all of the 15-star coaches that were in attendance in her downline on stage and gave them 1 minute to give their best piece of advice. So I just wrote a few of them down that I wanted to share with you guys, and then I'm going to talk about Facebook and some stuff that Mari Smith taught on stage, and then I also attended one of her webinars this morning, so I'm going to share with you guys some fun stuff that I learned there. So is everybody's primary platform mostly Facebook here? Raise your hand. Yeah? Cool. Okay, good. If it's not, that's okay, because some of these things you can still apply to other areas, but I kind of sense that most people, from what I can see from everybody's faces, most of you guys are mostly on Facebook. Okay, so one of the first quotes was, when things get hard, push in, not away. Ali Upham said that, and I love that because I know for me, especially with my personally sponsored coaches, we are very, very close, not just in business, but in friendships and families. And, you know, we're there for each other through everything. These people are my sisters. And that's where the whole Misfit Means Family came from, was I just started getting such a sense from that and vibe from our family that it just kept popping out of my mouth and slowly became our unofficial tagline of Misfit Republic. But what I see is when things get challenging, people start to all of a sudden trickle away. Nicole always say they go into the fitness protection program and we can't reach them anymore and they're all of a sudden gone. And so I want you guys to remember that we're here for when it gets hard. That's the purpose of having this community, because if it were easy, everyone would be rich, right? Exactly. So it's going to get hard. And then it's going to get easier, and then it's going to get hard again. And as you continue to grow, it's going to get easier and harder and easier. And it's just going to be this never ending. I'm still going through moments where I'm like, how am I going to hit Success Club this month? Like every single month, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to lose it. I know, like I seriously thought September was going to do me in. Luckily, like I just show up and I do the work, but I don't push away from my business or away from my team. I push further in, the harder that it gets. And that is, my team carries me through and I carry my team through. So remember that when you guys are going through challenging phases, not just in building, but in life as well. Because when people are, you know, when my coaches are going through marriages and births and divorce and deaths, we're there through all of that too. So push in, not away. The next one was find your light. Where does your light shine? And then I love the caveat that says, just because someone else found their light, it doesn't mean that it takes away from yours. And that really like hit me hard, because sometimes we look at other people and we're like, Heather Lee just not stumbled. I like divinely downloaded some of the most like insanely perfect branding for her. And I get so excited when I see like those moments of like stuff is clicking and stuff is like really starting to flow for people and they get excited. And now she's got just like this really chic, awesome, cohesive brand coming out. And it can be tempting for someone else who feels like they may be struggling in an area like that to think of, oh, she found it, I'm not going to. Just because she found her light doesn't take away from yours, okay? That jealousy thing is a B word and she will get you if you let her. So just remember, what's your light? And Tulin,
really need you right now.